going to sue. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he's got three!
Up, Bears. So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball, and we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK. The Boys are back. Maybe we need that cheesy song for our intro. We made it back. It's been a minute, but we got a list of stuff to talk about. And honestly, we got more to talk about than we can probably cover in the episode today. But good thing Rangers have an off day tomorrow, so we will have plenty of Rangers talk today and tomorrow. We also have two series to cover, two series wins for the Rangers. And I want to say the Rangers have won 11 of their last 14 games, if I'm counting correctly. Wherever I'm somewhere close, and that means that our team is hot. Rangers are going into the end of the season looking really good, regardless of where we land playoff time. I think we're going to be really optimistic about the 2025 Texas Rangers. Just a reminder, your 2023 Rangers were the World Series champs. We're still the defending champs until some other team gets to hold that trophy. If you want to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB, don't forget to check out the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
And you can check us out right here on YouTube on the Sports Fluent Network. All you got to do is go into that search bar and type in Texas Rangers with the Boys. Joining me, as always, my co-host, the 300-pound manimal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? Where can they find you on the socials?
Doing good enough. Just getting through some Ranger baseball, being able to get together, reconvene, talk some Rangers here on the show because it's been a minute, it seems like. But we had some changes last week within family stuff, and we had some problems with StreamYard, and you know what? So we're gonna start the new week fresh. We're gonna talk about Rangers finishing off the Yankees in grand fashion last Wednesday, and then we're going to talk about a 3-1 series win over the Angels. And this is the first time since Globe Life Field opened that the Rangers have won 7 games on a homestand.
Wow, what a stat!
Yeah, so I don't know, but a good homestand. Yeah, they won 4-2 with Oakland, 2 with New York, and then 3 with Anaheim, and snuck out of there 7-3. And you know what? That's a good homestand. I know it's probably a little too late, but it's good to see them at least playing pretty good baseball at the moment. Real quick before we get on with the show, let everybody know Manimal Bull on Twitter, Instagram Manimal300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. Whatever your favorite platform of social medias are, get at me on there. Let's talk about the Rangers. Let's talk about 4 series wins in a row now. So the Rangers playing good baseball here going into the middle of September, and stranger things have happened, but at the same time, we're getting a good chance to look at Jack Leiter, and we're going to get some DeGrom and Scherzer starts down the stretch. So, there's exciting stuff to talk about being a Ranger fan, and even if it may not be playoffs or whatever, we've still got stuff to talk about, and we'll still have stuff to talk about all the way through the off season. So. Whatever it ends up with the Rangers, we'll be right here to talk about it. And Ranger season may be over by October 18th, so you'll have plenty of time to make it out to Matt Warpro's 2nd year anniversary show, 2YA at Martin House Brewing Company on Friday, October 18th. So come on out for that. It's going to be a big time. They're going to have food on site. Starry's Ice Cream will be there. All the Martin House brews on tap. You can get whatever you want. Get some beer to go. Do your thing. Come out. Watch a big wrestling show. It's going to be a big time. And everybody, pro wrestling is the most fun live show that you can go to, and nothing makes it better than like ice cream and beer. So come on out October 18th to Martin House Brewing Company for Matt War Pro's second year anniversary show, 2YA.
You saw me trying to like move because you said 2YA and I heard TYA and I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Knee-jerk reaction. Also,
we went over that for sure, yeah.
Before we get into it, opening weekend of the NFL, both of our teams put the whoop down on somebody.
Do we want to talk about week 2 of the college football season, or are we?
Oh, who was surprised by the outcome for the University of Michigan?
But let's talk about the one we were surprised about, the little Fighting Illini beating the 19th ranked Kansas Jayhawks.
Hey.
So where there was a little bit of disappointment this week at the Big House. Memorial Stadium was rocking their first sellout in 8 years. Woo! And the Illini take care of number 19 Kansas.
Hey,
that's awesome. So a little bit of excitement up there in Champaign. My little Fighting Illini, not too bad this year. We'll see what Brett Bielema's got in his bag for him the rest of the year, because he's a pretty good coach.
Well, and this is the year. If there was ever a year to catch my big blue slipping, this is the year, because I have no idea what's going on at quarterback with Michigan, man. So you wonder how you have the best college recruiting coach of the modern era. Andrew Luck at Stanford. You had McClain. He had like 3 guys at Michigan. McCarthy goes in the first round, but yet we're rolling a walk-on, no-star walk-on out there the year after we win a national championship. I'm just wondering what the heck. Where's all the flippers that?
A little surprising. I thought Alex Orji was probably going to get a little bit more time on Saturday, but you didn't see him at all. And I feel like he's probably one of the best offensive players on their team. So you probably got to get him out there as often as possible, even if it's not in the quarterback position at this point, to get some electricity in your offense. Because, man, we kind of talked about it last week when we were up there. Man, if they play like that against Texas, Texas is going to blow the barn doors off of them, and they did.
Yeah, and I honestly thought it could have been worse. I really thought that.
Oh, yeah, Texas ran the ball. I don't think they threw the ball one time in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it was, what's funny offensively, when you go look at the numbers, it wasn't that big of a discrepancy. The big issue was the turnovers, and really that Michigan could not sustain a drive, but they couldn't sustain a drive against Fresno State. So anyway, we know you guys aren't here to talk about the Wolverines or the Cowboys or the Buffalo Bills. You're here to talk about the Texas Rangers, and we are gonna do that. Let's kick it off with a little bit of a feel-good story. So Elvis Andrus retires a Texas Ranger. I got no complaints about Elvis Andrus as a Texas Ranger.
Yeah, he should absolutely sign a one-day contract in his career with the Rangers. I mean, I know he played a little bit with Oakland, a little bit with Chicago at the end of his career, but I don't think there's anybody that thinks of Elvis Andrus as anything but a Texas Ranger. And honestly, I mean, when they traded for him, and you're looking at watching a 17-year-old kid in Frisco back in the day, I mean, you knew that he was going to be a good ball player for a lot of years, and he was.
Yeah, I mean,
Elvis was a really good, sure-handed shortstop that maybe he wasn't as electric defensively as kind of his reputation coming in, but he was very sure-handed, always played the game right. And, him and Adrian Beltre were always fun to watch over on the left side of that infield. So, no, I got no problems with Elvis. I mean, I imagine that at some point in the next couple of years, they should put him into the Rangers Hall of Fame, because he was a big part of everything the Rangers did for, a 6-7 year span there. And, we can forgive him for all those errors he made in Toronto in that one inning that led up to the Jose Bautista three-run home run that ended that thing or whatever. But we can forgive him for that. It's been 10 years almost.
Well, Andrus was a 2-time All-Star with the Rangers. Interestingly enough, in his career, he was only negative WAR one time, and that was in 2020. The rest of his career, he was really, really good. A positive WAR defensive player. finished his career with a 34.2 WAR. I think that's pretty good.
That's a pretty good player, yeah.
No, he's a good player, and like I said, two-time All-Star.
And
really
2020, it's hard to hold that against him as
right.
yeah.
There's no
year with Oakland and all of that stuff or whatever.
Well, there's no like body of work. You know, I mean, 30 games is not enough games to like count for a whole season. But no, I mean, looking up and down the numbers, I mean, he was way, I feel like way above average as far as like a shortstop, especially during his era. We're in the era where we got 50 home run hitting shortstops on like 3 teams. That's not normal. Normally, if you got
and Andrus is kind of that next level of guy after that, where it was more of the shortstop was kind of coming back down to reality, and you were seeing more like him, and you know, not so many power hitting Miguel Tejada, A-Rod type.
Well, and also remember, everybody wanted to be Derek Jeter after Derek Jeter. So you had a full generation of players that really didn't care if they hit a ton of homers like Alex Rodriguez, because frankly, no one wanted to be Alex Rodriguez. They wanted to be Derek Jeter. And
I wanted to be Alex Rodriguez. So
well, in general, you know what I'm saying. A lot of these guys like didn't really prioritize the home run ball, and big, hats off to Jeter for inspiring a whole generation of players. But all in all, Andrus was great. Loved him. I agree with you. I think he should go down. He's kind of one of those guys when you say, well, who do you remember from the 2010, 2011, like the 2012 years when the Rangers were doing their thing? He's certainly one of the guys that I remember being part of that crew with Josh Hamilton and Nelly Cruz and those guys. He was right there in my mind. He was like top of mind kind of guy. So again, we have a lot of good memories attached to our time with Elvis. So, good best of wishes to him.
Big base hit in Game 2 of the World Series against St. Louis there to keep them in that series and not come home down 2-0. So, right. There's great memories with Elvis, and he'd steal a base for you. He'd do whatever you needed. And whenever there was a runner on second, 2 outs, and he came up to the plate, there was a good chance that he was going to shorten his swing and do something.
Absolutely. Well, from one shortstop to another, Corey Seager ends up on the IL. Not sure what's going to go down with that. My thoughts are this, and I'll just pass it over, is that like last year, look, let's find same thing with Evan Carter, same thing with the hernia. Like, let's find out now what the heck's going on. If there's surgery needed, do the daggum surgery now. Don't wait 6 freaking months. And then right before spring training, Seager, the hip is better. No.
And that was emphasized by Corey Seager when he was talking about it, was that I don't know if I'm going to play again this year, but the most definite thing is I can't come into spring training again next year not ready to play.
Yep.
So that was his biggest emphasis on his interview, talking about the injury. General concern, basically, for more than anything else, some soreness. So there's nothing that, who knows what the injury is, but there's no point in September. I mean, if the Rangers were in a pennant chase and, okay, you could see Corey Seager playing, but as of right now, make sure he's healthy for spring next year and make sure that he's not just finding out about an injury around December. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest key. And I think the team and him are both focused the most on that.
Let's not do the same thing with Seager that we did with Evan Carter this year. Cause I feel like the Rangers should have made moves on Evan Carter a lot sooner. And they did the same thing with Seager last year with the hernia. My first thought was like, well, hey, let's go ahead and get the surgery now, not wait until, anyway, I don't want to get off into that, but that means
the moves on the back
what's the
end
roster
of that.
move?
Oh, okay.
Well, what's the roster move?
The roster move, Sandro Fabian, who a couple of years ago, the Rangers, he was a roster casualty of the San Francisco Giants, and the Rangers got him on a minor league deal, kept him around in their system. He's had a little bit of success at AAA this year. He was pretty good last year for Frisco. So, Fabian's kind of, been one of those guys that's hung around the system. He's a good enough player to probably play pro ball, maybe not at the big league level, maybe in Japan or Korea, but this is the time now he gets to find out. And, if he plays well enough down the stretch here, he might be able to keep himself in a position to stay on that 40-man all off season. And if he doesn't, there's a good chance that they DFA him and, either he sticks around with the minor league squad next year and comes to spring training on a minor league deal with the Rangers, or he's probably going to go take an opportunity somewhere else because, he wants to play professional baseball and he's a good enough guy too. So now it's just about finding that spot for him. And if it's with the Rangers, hopefully he comes through. Not a great weekend for him, but not a small sample size for sure. And to make room for for Sandro Fabian on the 40-man roster, the Rangers elected to move John Gray to the 60-day IL because he isn't planning on pitching again this season with his is it a hip thing?
See, I'm trying to find Fabian's his line for the game. Did he get in over the weekend?
Friday night? Did he play? I think he played Friday night.
Okay, I was looking for that, so you caught me off guard. But
Fabian, he's played really well at Frisco, and he's been a guy that we talked about on the Down on the Farm show. Is he a guy that'll get an opportunity? And I kind of felt like he probably wouldn't, and here we are. So. Good on Fabian, and it kind of says a little something about Dustin Harris and Sam Huff and what they're thinking of what their performance has been at AAA this year, where they've done a lot more purchasing than call-ups. So, interesting there.
Well, and I guess like when it comes to those two guys, I was thinking the same thing. Like it might mean they're just not ready to pull them up to the big leagues this year. And that means that next year, I mean, pretty much they got a chance to make the team out of spring training. And if they don't.
And I'm kind of starting to feel, depending on what the 40-man looks like at the end of the year, that they may not tender a contract to Huff.
Maybe he's trade material for
possibly, or maybe just the idea that they're going to go into the season next year with him as the backup catcher and give him the opportunity to play every fourth or fifth day. And I mean, that really depends on what kind of confidence they're going to have with Jonah Heim next year too, because I mean, there's been no bigger fall off in baseball than Jonah Heim's fall off this year. And it'd be one thing if it was just at the plate, but it's not just at the plate, it's behind the plate as well.
Yeah. Even as early as that gaff early in the season with the foul ball thing and that whole deal where he standing there complaining. It's like, go get the ball.
Of course he was right. Yeah, of course he was right. But being right and losing games are two different things.
Go get the ball, bro. Anyway, well, man, that again, probably a subject that we could continue to talk about.
Let's talk about some fun stuff now. Saturday night was a big night for the organization.
It really, really was. And really just pitching all together last week for the organization was big. But DeGrom and Scherzer both make their rehab starts. Both of them were great. Scherzer had a perfect game and had a fun little. You should just go read the article about Scherzer.
Just go, yeah. We don't need to talk about the intentional walk. You guys just go look at that.
We'll read it. What? It's a great article.
But yeah, no, good work. And DeGrom was damn near perfect at Frisco the other night. So just exciting stuff at this point with those guys, because you know that those guys are two of the best pitchers that have ever picked up a baseball in this game, and to have them kind of coming back and see them down the stretch, that's kind of like what the Rangers' goals have kind of been. I mean, maybe they're in a spot next year where Scherzer wants to come back and throw, and gives them a good hometown deal because he likes living next to DeGrom over there in Westlake, and who knows? Maybe he likes the fact that he doesn't have to pay state taxes down here. I don't know. I don't know how it works for people that make $30 million a year or whatever. But at the same time, if Scherzer's good down the stretch, he feels healthy next year, and he wants to come back and pitch here. He's not exactly a guy that you throw out of your rotation for any team.
Right. And I think that with the Rangers, what's a positive sign about Scherzer and the team and the possibility of him maybe getting some kind of team team, friendly team deal is, number one, he's a Hall of Famer, has nothing to prove. Number two, he's made more money than he can possibly spend in his lifetime or the next lifetime. So it's more, I would say at this point of his career, it's more about what does he want to do. And I think the Rangers have treated him with so much respect as a veteran, and they've just been so respectful for him. Like they've treated him with respect. They've kind of treated him the way he should be treated. And I think he likes it here. I think he feels like probably there's some unfinished business with this team too. I think everybody's going to feel that way this year at the end of the season. So like, it's possible, because of the way the Rangers have treated him, because of where he's in his career, maybe he wants to come back for this team and play with this team for whatever they can do, because it's not about making money with this guy anymore. It's about, hey, let's get one last ride, put me and DeGrom and Molly in the rotation, and let's go see what we can do next year.
Yeah, and and one other thing that with Scherzer is, I kind of look at like Detroit and what they kind of did this year and how they picked things up at the end of the year, and kind of see that maybe as a potential landing spot for Scherzer, go finish his career back off where he started it. So, not that that's a guarantee either. Just, like when you're looking at potential landing spots for a 41-year-old pitcher that you don't know what he's got left in the tank coming off of an injury-riddled season, but at the same time, if he comes back here and, you get a little bit of what he offers, if it's over 25 or 30 starts, you really like the idea of it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. And then I think the other question and the most titillating part of this conversation is, what does DeGrom and Scherzer coming back this year mean for the rotation?
Well, like ideally, right now, neither one of them are going to go 8. Like you're talking about guys that are probably at 75 pitch count right now, if especially with DeGrom coming back. They had the injury with Molly, so they're definitely not trying to like hurry DeGrom into throwing 100 pitches or 150 pitches. So, maybe the ideal situation is to piggyback the two of them off of each other and get yourself 6 or 8 innings with those two guys, and then give your bullpen an idea, not a rest, a little bit of they know that night they're probably getting 7 or 8 from DeGrom and Scherzer. So, I don't know, but, ideally you would get 2 separate starts from them and they would both work into the 5th or 6th inning. But, that's not realistic probably either at this point in the season. Yeah. If you get 8 from Scherzer and DeGrom and you got a couple of runs on the board, you're probably in a position to go to Yates to win that game.
Well, here's my mind, and I'm thinking, how cool would it be to have DeGrom, Scherzer, Yates, and Robertson and Yates all pitch in the same game? Like that's a ticket worth.
That'd be like the oldest 4-group pitcher in big leagues, right? Like if those 4 pitched together.
Well, if you're batting on the other team, like that's a game you remember for the rest of your life too, because those are all really, really big time big leaguers, man. That would be a great experience. Do they still give out that Rolaids Relief Pitcher of the Year? Because how does Kirby Yates not win that thing if they do? Oh man, I don't know, because he has been
one more thing to add to the DeGrom Scherzer thing. This week we heard CY this weekend kind of talking about the idea that Kumar Rocker could be up with the big club anytime now.
Look, man,
and I love it.
You know how I feel about that. Yeah, I felt this way a year ago when we were watching him, or a little over a year ago, when we're maybe I don't know, whatever. When
he was striking out 10 in 5 innings against every.
Yeah, and Frisco, not Frisco, but Hickory. And Hickory,
yeah.
He was electric, and then he comes back off of his surgery and everything, and some
things never change, right? Yeah.
It's good. And then he had an amazing start the other night, gave up his first home run, but really
Yeah.
still the same story. I mean, he was mowing guys down, striking 5 innings, 8 strikeouts. I think he had 2 earned runs.
He threw a hanger. He got caught. He got caught on a hanging curveball that hung out over the middle of the plate. And, good hitters, regardless of the level, aren't going to miss that pitch. And but other than that, man, he's been fantastic. And that just adds another arm to that core of starters that they've got right now. And you're still going to get Eovaldi starts. You're still going to get Heaney starts. You're still going to get Bradford starts. So, I mean, it kind of works into that where you can, go every 5th, 6th day with a young guy, and you've got the option of DeGrom and Scherzer, to maybe even open or whatever they decide to do with them.
Yeah, I think you mentioned you mentioned David Robertson, Kirby Yates, and we kind of brought up David Robertson. But David Robertson, I think, passed Francisco Rodriguez.
Yeah, K-Rod, yeah.
On the strikeouts, relievers.
Yeah, him and Bochy are just kind of passing somebody every once in a while whenever it comes to this year, with Bochy moving in to what he's creeping up on Dusty Baker now, and Robertson, he's closing in on top 5 strikeout bullpen guy of all time. So good stuff from Robertson. We got that off day tomorrow, and I know we still got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Well, all right. So I'm just going to kind of run through what we'll talk about tomorrow because we've got a ton of stuff. We
got 5 box scores to talk about.
Yeah, we sure do. And we're going to talk about Jack Leiter pitching and his start also in that box score. But we're going to talk a little more about him tomorrow because he was really good. We're going to talk about should the Rangers bring back Andrew Heaney.
And I got a question for you on Leiter tomorrow, and I'll give it to you now.
Okay.
A little bit of controversy this past week within the sports guys in Dallas, Fort Worth about Jack Leiter. And there's heavy regards that him giving up 5 runs over 5 innings against the Yankees the other night is that he's going to be a bust as a draft pick. And it seems like that's more of the case from people that don't really know baseball.
Right.
And then whenever someone tries to explain it to them, like, hey, that outing was actually really good if you watch the game, it's like, but it's still 5 runs over 5 innings. And I was kind of talk about, like, is Leiter like in the right spot for where he should be? And I'm of the opinion that yes, he is in the right spot, because last year at this time we were concerned about the idea that he would even be a viable pitcher in the big leagues.
Yeah, I think the best way you can put it with that is the statistic on his dad. I'll take Al Leiter on my team any day of the week. And his first 5 seasons or 4 seasons in the big leagues, he had an over 5 earned run average. So I think we just need to tap the brakes on that. But we'll talk about Leiter a little bit more. I would love to talk more in depth about him and just watching him intently and seeing like what there is to talk about with him. Should we bring back Andrew Heaney? We should talk about that. The Rangers offense, there's been some players on this team that have been really, really good over these last couple of weeks. So we're gonna get into that. And then one other major topic that we've got to talk about is this Mavericks TV deal. They leave Bally Sports. They get a deal with WFAA, Channel 8, and their subsidiary. 72 games are going to be broadcast for free on broadcast television next year. 15 of those are going to be on Channel 8. So,
and the rest of them are on Channel 29, correct?
Channel 29, yep.
Yeah.
And the Mavericks are back on local broadcast. So, what does this mean for the Rangers? What does it mean for for Bally? So, we're going to talk about that as well. But we've got box scores to talk about. And before I can tell you about box scores, I got to tell you about our exclusive content, Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers, minor league. Minor leagues are wrapping up quickly as we speak, just like the big leagues are. And, the Rangers minor league teams are all going down the stretch.
Yesterday was the wrap up for A.
Okay, so a lot of the teams are wrapping up. And so we're going to be talking about who is the best players here at each level. And then as the offseason goes along, we'll talk about each kind of position and where we think people are going to land, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be fun. There's a ton to talk about. with them, and also the draft picks and how's that going to go, and how did the draft picks do, some of them that got to play. So there's a ton to talk about, not just at the big league level, but at the minor league level. All you have to do is go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or you can just jump straight to Spotify and subscribe. It's just $1.99 a month. You make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers minor league. I also want to give one quick heads up. The Texas Rangers with the Boys Fantasy Baseball League is about to kick off the playoffs. Next week, playoffs start. And the interesting thing, you can't make this stuff up. Okay. A lot of times we talk about, like, was it a work? Was it planned? Are they making this stuff happen? But you can't make this up. Down to the last week of the season, the boys team, our team, Texas Rangers with the Boys, and Ranger Nukes are one game. The Nukes are one game behind us for first place. And it's come down to the very last game of the week in baseball, the Houston versus Arizona, and it's my starting pitcher against his start. He's got Kikuchi, and I've got Nelson. I've also got Hader in my bullpen, and it's literally coming down to the wire for this game to see who's going to get first place, who gets the bye week, who gets the top seed. I do want to say it's been a blast doing fantasy baseball with our listeners, and to be real with you, like, I really loved fantasy basketball because it was a day-to-day thing. Fantasy baseball even blows that out of the water because I love baseball more than I love basketball. So I just want to thank everybody that has been part of that. It's been a blast, and the playoffs kick off next week. We got 3 weeks of playoffs to go, but it's coming down to the wire. Tomorrow we'll know the playoff brackets for the fantasy baseball for Texas Rangers with the Boys. Wanted to give you guys.
You want some fun Rangers minor league news real quick?
Give it to us.
Things wrapped up today in Hickory, and Sebastian Walcott, the number one prospect in the Rangers organization, according to us. Mm-hmm. He's going to lead the Sally League in hits and doubles. He's going to end up tied for first with doubles, and he's going to lead the Sally League in hits for the season. And also some exciting news is he'll be in Frisco this week for the last week of the Texas League. And that means he'll be on that playoff roster down the stretch here, and hopefully helping the Rangers Double-A affiliate Frisco win the Texas League. So some exciting stuff down there on the farm. Sebastian Walcott, who I probably don't think he'll stay at shortstop overall, probably ends up in right field or third base, probably right field if you ask me, but he's going to stick on shortstop as long as possible, just for, footwork, the toughness of the position, continuing to be what he's becoming, and a huge second half of the season for Walcott as he kind of developed a little bit.
Yeah, I saw the doubles. The reason I said doubles because I was like, dang, dude has 31 doubles. I was like, and when you said he leads in something, I was like, it has to be doubles. He caught somebody today with the double and a couple of hits, and ends up taking the hits crown for the high A Sally League this year. So good for Walcott. We're going to talk about that for a while. We got lots to talk about on the down on the farm show. So we'll talk about Walcott quite a bit this week on the show. Well, I know we didn't get to have a show last week after the Yankee series. So it's about time to hear my notes. Yeah, let's wrap that thing up.
Yeah, I got Wednesday. Eovaldi with the win, Stroman the loss, and an unfortunate Yates one batter save there. My notes basically say Eovaldi great, bullpen not so much. Mm-hmm. But the Rangers were 8 for 19 with runners in scoring position, and they had 18 base runners on the game. So big win. I think the final was 10-7, right? 10-6, something like that. And a huge catch by Wyatt Langford to end that game. Remember, Stanton hit a bomb I mean,
Yeah,
just a rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Rangers had 3 stolen bases on Thursday. They took advantage of Trevino being behind the plate and really took every opportunity to steal bases both the nights that he was in the game.
Well, I wanted to point out this was kind of like these last few games, especially the young cats for the Rangers have been really showing out. And in that game, I mean, Langford had a huge game. Josh Smith had a big game. Or Ezekiel Duran had a big game. Tavares had a really big double. He scored 2 runs in that game. And of course, the veterans on the team, Lowe and Garcia, combined for 4 runs batted in and 4 hits. But the big it's fun. And you also had Leiter in there pitching. So you saw some of the future of this team, like starting to come together. Maybe not as fast as we wanted it to, but again,
and it seems like the guys that are struggling are guys that we don't really see a future with for the club. The Grant Andersons, Matt Festa, guys that we don't see with this club probably past. They'll stick them on the 40 man until they need that spot. They'll stay on there until they need that spot. And Festa could probably elect free agency after the year. So we'll just see. We'll see where those guys go. But it seems like for the most part, the guys that have struggled are the guys that we don't really see a spot for on the team next year anyways.
Right. Well, Rangers wrap up a win 2 out of 3 versus the Yankees. Big deal, big win for just morale, also for the home crowd. The Yankee fans came into town like they always do, tried to take over the stadium, and they got ran out of town. Good riddance, Yankees fans.
And let's be honest, the Rangers had a real opportunity if they would have just kind of I know they're learning about their ball club and all of that, but had they just went 5 innings with Leiter there in that in game 1 of that series, they had a real opportunity. I mean, he pitched really well through 5, and once he gave up the double to Judge, and they kind of fell out of that game. But they had a real opportunity to win all those games against the Yankees, and that's a good Yankees lineup. A good Yankees lineup.
I think it's hard to state that, without you emphasize it, because it doesn't. It's like. Good,
it's almost like you don't realize. But you don't realize. I mean, you don't realize how good of a hitter that Gleyber Torres is, that DJ LeMahieu is, that even Jose Trevino is a pretty decent hitter for a catcher's spot. I mean, you just don't think about it, and you don't realize, and then you add Jazz Chisholm into the middle of that lineup, and you've got a resurgent year from Giancarlo Stanton, and I mean, you're just seeing and Aaron Judge healthy and just doing what Aaron Judge does. But I thought the Rangers did a good job of keeping him in check for most part of the series. And you know what? A well-deserved win of the series. And split the series with the Yankees over the course of the season. So good stuff from the Rangers there in that Yankees series. And that pushes that road or the homestand record to 4-2 with Anaheim coming into town. And man, Thursday, Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Bradford made that 3-run home run from Adolis Garcia hold up. That's basically Bradford gets the win 4-2. Kokenwich? You got that pronunciation on that name? I got Kokenwich. He takes the loss. Kirby Yates picks up another save, his 27th of the season, and big 3-run home run in the first inning. We were watching the replay because James missed the game the other day, and I had the replay started over again at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock or whatever, and Garcia hit the home run, and I was like, all right, well, you've seen the game.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, just Bradford did such a good job of keeping the Angels at bay. They didn't have a whole lot of hits, not a lot of stuff going on, and Bradford just, I mean, goes out there, does a great job, and the bullpen was good, and I think the one big thing, the Rangers had a lot of hits. They had 10 hits or 10 base runners or 10 hits and 12 base runners, something like that, but they only had 6 at bats with runners in scoring position. So they had a bunch of singles and nothing behind it, but The bats were still going a little bit, but really they lived off of that 3-run home run from Garcia and some really good pitching from Cody Bradford in the bullpen.
Yeah, Robertson and Yates combined for 6 strikeouts in 2 innings. I mean, that's just lights out. And then just real quick, you brought up the names for the Angels. This is happening all weekend with this series because they keep bringing these names of these guys on this team. So you had Kokanovitz, and then you had Zephyr John after that. So go pronounce
Aldegari.
There was another guy, I can't remember who it was that came in the game. Was it? I guess it was today. That came in for him today that had like a two different names. What was it? I guess maybe it was yesterday, but I mean, just some wacky, some
great names. Yeah, some great names on that Anaheim team. A lot of familiar names. You see today we saw Hans Kraus and Brock Burke in Angels uniforms today. So, but Thursday night really nice. Friday between Garabito and Urena, a little bit of hitting. They didn't score any runs. It wasn't real pretty on Friday night.
And Garabito, like, to his defense, one of those earned runs was on Pennington. So, I mean, he left a guy out there, but I mean, I didn't think Garabito was terrible. I didn't
either. I think Garabito's going to get an opportunity on the 40-man for probably through to the spring, unless something outlandish happens, because he's been good enough to, get an opportunity to compete for a relief job next year out of the bullpen. I think he has been for sure. And I think he's actually been good enough to at least compete for a starting role and define what he is.
Well, another catcher kills the Rangers with Ohapi killing the Rangers again.
Yeah, 3-run job.
And then
the 3-run job was the killer.
And then the Angels roll out another pitcher with a name that I can't pronounce.
Samuel Aldegari,
and he looked like he was 12. And then the guy that the Rangers played on Sunday looked like he was 13.
He was actually, I'm pretty sure. I think that
Melody was watching the game with me. She's like, that guy looks like he's like a little kid. And I was like,
Caden Dana, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because here, speaking of fantasy, it was between him and Severino were the pitchers I had to choose from to start the game today. I needed to pick up a starter. And I was like, nah, I'm going to go with Severino. And woo, man, I'm glad I did.
Good call on that. But put a pretty little bow on Allegari gets his win, and Garabito takes the loss, and the Rangers drop their third game on the homestand. But overall, you know what? They got a couple behind that. If they can get those two, you know what? You're feeling good about a 7-win homestand. So overall, nothing wrong with that. And Aldegari was pretty good. I thought his stuff was pretty good. And the Rangers have struggled with lefties most of the season. But overall, I thought Aldegari was pretty good for the Angels. And when their back part of the bullpen isn't bad at all.
Well, and Rangers get another lefty on Saturday. Face another lefty on Saturday who really was like, I'm watching this guy and I'm going like, he's throwing a fastball, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle on the first pitch, almost every single batter. And I'm just going, guys, like just. And then Marcus Semien, it's almost like he heard me on Sunday because first pitch of the game, he tees off. But I'm like.
He just rolled right out there, yeah.
But Anderson for the Angels was not bad on Saturday night.
He had a no-hitter through 5, right?
Something he only gave up one hit.
I thought he was good. He gave up the double to Duran after he put a couple of guys on base, though.
Yep.
And that was kind of what ended up being the killer for him, was more than anything else just the fact that those walks, man, leadoff walks lead the runs, and we've talked about that a million times. And it happened to Anderson, but he was pretty good. Once they got into that bullpen, though, the Rangers were able to keep coming back. I thought Leiter for 5 innings was good. Chafin not very good at all on Saturday night.
When he plopped down on the guy at home plate, that was like the highlight of the game for me.
I don't know what was worse, that pitch or that effort from Jonah Heim to knock it down. So I don't know what was worse, the pitch or the effort there. But once it hit his knee, you knew that Neto was probably scoring.
Yeah, it was just kind of one of those bump kind of plays. But Rangers overall, I mean, Josh Young had a really nice weekend. So he had a double in the game. Duran had a really nice weekend. He also, like you mentioned, he had a double, and then Wyatt Langford also with a screamer himself with a double as well. So young bats all weekend.
Simi had a big hit. Yeah, Simi had a big hit on Saturday night to clear the bases there, and Rangers just, I mean, hey, big win. Good pitching performance from Jack Leiter for everybody. Hey, he gave up 3 runs, but overall, I thought the stuff was excellent. The fastball is good, man. I mean, that's a major league pitch.
All three pitches are good. All three of them are good. The slider is good. The curveball is really good when it kind of comes out of nowhere.
And when he keeps that changeup down, not bad either.
Well, when they're expecting the slider and they get the curveball, they're just not. It just throws them way off. But I'll say this: the one thing I noticed about Leiter, and we'll probably talk about it more tomorrow. But one thing I noticed about him was like there were times where his command was absolutely pinpoint and awesome, and then there were other times where it wasn't. But I'll tell you this: he had an inning. I want to say it was the second to last inning that he went out there and he was just. I mean,
you were real quick. I just want to update you. The Diamondbacks scored 9 runs tonight.
Yeah,
they only gave up a couple. So I think the Texas Rangers with the boys fantasy team is going to wrap that thing. I think it's wrapped.
Okay, well, I will give you guys because it says here I still have 2 guys left to play. He's still got 4. So we'll wrap it officially tomorrow, but it's looking like I started the right guy instead of because he was another pickup that I got as well. But one of the things about Leiter, so he was like, I think it was the second to last inning, so probably the 3rd inning, I want to say it was. He came out there, and I mean, it looked like he was dotting the corners, man. He was like, I mean, he just looked like he had command, and then he came back out the next inning, and I believe this was when he got taken out, and his control just kind of wasn't there. Maybe the fatigue was coming in or whatever. But what I liked about it was that he was battling, man. Like he didn't like let it get to him mentally. And again, I think we're just looking at a guy, a kid kind of becoming a man kind of scenario where he's starting to get the mentality down because again, like he was battling in that last inning. He did not want to come out of the game either. You could tell that when Boch came and got the ball from him, he wasn't ready.
He had the look up, I want to go out there. I want to try and get these guys. But, at the same time, you also don't want a repeat of what happened against the Yankees. He threw the ball well again. Get your 5. Think about, and real quick, Festa was good. Leclerc was good, and Robertson and Yates were both good out of the bullpen. The Rangers had 11 strikeouts over 5 walks, but 3 of them were bullpen walks. So Leiter, he just had the 2 walks. I know one of them ended up coming around to score. But to put a quick wrap on that thing, Jose Leclerc gets the win after coming in to get Festa out of a little bit of a jam. Medros takes the loss. And Kirby Yates picks up save number 28 on the season. So Kirby Yates, early in the season, he wasn't getting a whole lot of save opportunities, but it seems like the last couple of weeks he's went from about 20 saves to 28 in just the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's been great because he's on my fantasy team, one of my fantasy teams. So I'll take it. Well, all right. So let's roll into Sunday. Rangers kind of just jumped on Dana right away, made him pay for every single mistake, and he almost got more.
Yeah, from pitch 1.
Yeah, well, and I think like there was more. Like I think there was maybe a foul ball home run. Adolis Garcia, I felt like missed one. I mean, it felt like it could have been worse.
Yeah, every pitch that he made that was a mistake, he got pounded. Whether
Yeah.
it was foul, fair, or whatever the case may be. Duran hit a bomb.
Yeah.
Simeon hit a bomb. Lowe hit a bomm.
Lowe's
Man,
home run. I don't know
yeah,
how
that
they
was
only measured it 409. Because
yeah, I know.
remember when we were sitting I think it was during the day off game where we went in the escape game or whatever they call it, the getaway game.
Getaway day, yeah.
Right, we're sitting on the home run deck, but we're way in the back, and you're like, oh, ball, nothing's coming up here. And like, I swear that's where he hit it. Like he hit it at the home run deck. And I'm like, 409. I was like, there's no way that was.
I know, because they got 5 more feet on the Duran home run. But he went center field though. That was a bomb. Yeah, Matt Heaney was good again. I know he gave up 4 runs. Ended up only giving up the 3 earned, so it ends up being a quality start for Heaney. But he like rolled him right into the bullpen, and Robertson probably not his crispest stuff of the season, but did a good enough job. And Yates lights out again, man. Just lights out. He had the walk, but other than that, I mean, everything you could ask for from Yates and Robertson, and really Leclerc too. I mean, like, it may not be the order that we thought it would be at the beginning of the season, but I mean, that's exactly what we were expecting a whole bunch this season from the Texas Rangers, with Leclerc, Robertson, and Yates going out there and throwing 3 quality innings and keeping, closing things down. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of things are happening late, but they're happening.
And I'll also say this, that when it comes to Heaney, he really only had the one really that home run that he gave up. And then one of those
the leadoff walk to start that, it didn't help.
Then one of those earned runs was an inherited runner that Leclerc let get across. Yeah. So, I mean, all in all, I thought Heaney was really good. And again, when you're playing with a 5-run lead, you do what you got to do. And I felt like he was just trying to get that thing through.
He was throwing strikes. Yeah, he was throwing strikes, getting the ball back and getting it right back up there. But he had 8 Ks, just the 1 walk. I mean, again, another night where the Rangers had 10 Ks to just 2 walks. So lots of good stuff coming. Yates, 29th save of the season, so he's definitely going to get to 30 now. There's no way he doesn't get 1 more. And huge hit from Jankowski there I think it was the bottom of the 8th. Yeah, I mean, that's an error, right? For sure.
It should be. I mean,
I don't even know if they put that on there or not as an error, but good Lord, how do you? That was Moniak too.
Well, you know what? You know what's funny? Melody was watching it, and she just kind of looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was like, "Look, when you are an outfielder, like what you do is you're supposed to feel the glove touch the dirt, like the glove or the grass, like has to touch the grass, and you come up. Because if you miss it, it pops straight up. Fair enough, no big deal, but you can like keep it in front of you. The last thing ever is the thing get behind you, because you don't have any. I mean, you do have somebody backing you up, but it's not the same as in the out, like for infield.
Oh, yeah, because once that got by, I was like, oh man, everybody's scoring now, and it went from just a big hit that was going to score 1 more run that, I mean, you feel better about 2 than 1, right? I mean, you got to get somebody on base then, if So I don't know, just a big hit, but the Rangers, I mean, 9 hits, but they made every one of them almost count. I mean, seven runs on top of those 9 hits. You're starting to see the things from the Rangers offense that you wanted to see all year long. I mean, because you're talking about, 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position, which is almost 300. 2 out RBIs from Nate Lowe and Jankowski. And I know it's just the one from Jankowski, but it scored 2 runs. I mean, it ends up being big just by putting the ball in play. And but another nice win for the Rangers. They take 3 out of 4 from the Angels. We're getting right up against it here. So we'll wrap this thing real quick and put a nice bow on it. Heaney gets a win, a well-deserved win for this season, 5-13. Dana takes the loss. That's just his second start of the season. And then Kirby Yates picks up save number 29, and the Rangers have pulled themselves to 70 wins now, and they're 70-74. And right now sitting, 7.5 behind the Astros if this score holds with them down 8-2 or 9-2 to the Diamondbacks here getting late in that game. That game now here is in the it's just the end of the fourth, so
We got time.
Lots of time, but it's top of 5, Diamondbacks 9, Astros 2. No, Kikuchi is no longer in the ball game, if you were wondering.
I'm loving to hear that. Well, Rangers, young bats, young pitching, starting to come around a little bit. So it's really nice to see that happening with the team. And it's kind of what we needed to see. And again, we talked a little earlier about players coming back. So, optimism surrounding this team. The best thing they can do right now is finish strong.
Just keep winning ball games.
Yeah, whatever happens as far as playoffs in this season. But, going into next season with some optimism. And we'll talk tomorrow about that TV deal and hopefully having some optimism as far as the finances of the team as well. But I think this Rangers team is in a window here, and I'm excited about it. And
don't look now, the Rangers are only 6.5 games back in the wild card.
Yep. So it's hey, let's just keep playing ball games. So let's play. Let's talk on September 11th or September 12th. We'll talk about it because that's when that was our deadline. So we'll be back on September 12th to talk about it. But tomorrow, we got a ton to talk about on our off day. If you got questions, you want to send them in, send in some questions via social media to Bull, because I am not on social media right now. But if you want to send them in to Spotify, you can send them in on there as well. Again, don't forget.
If you want to just send them right to Kevin, his telephone number is 810. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Don't do that. But hey, you can also send those to our social media platform, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check it out. Check us out on the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
That's all one word.
And you can subscribe to our exclusive content Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. You can get that on Spotify for just $1.99 a month. Make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers, organization-wide. And, I'm going to keep trying to buy some time here. There we go. And also don't forget to check us out right here on YouTube on the Sports Fluent Network. All you got to do is type in Texas Rangers with the Boys. We'll pop up, and then you can subscribe and watch us on there as well. So for the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. This has been Texas Rangers with the Boys. We're signing out.